So let's get down to some questions. That's the theory done. Let's crack on. We're looking now at the nature of quadratic roots. When we talk about the nature of quadratic roots, we're talking about that situation I just explained. Is it real and distinct, real and equal, or imaginary? Those three options, that's the nature of the quadratic roots. Okay, so for each of these equations, find the discriminant and state whether the roots are A, real and distinct, B, real and equal, or C, imaginary. So the first thing it said was find the discriminant. So the discriminant, as we know, is b squared minus 4ac. Now, I'm going to write ax squared plus bx plus c over this, because if I don't, I really am afraid I'm going to sub something in wrong. So don't skip this step. Make sure you actually do write it in. So I'm going to make a mistake now. Watch. Ax squared plus bx plus c. Well, that's not lining up. That's not an x squared term. And that's not an x term. So before we get into the discriminant here, let's rewrite this as negative 3x squared plus x minus 4. We're simply rewriting it so that it looks more familiar, like our standard three-term quadratic. Ax squared plus bx plus c. Very important to write that there. So we know that a then is 1. I'll write this over here on the side. We know that a is equal to, we know that a is equal to minus 3, b is equal to 1, and c is equal to minus 4. A is minus 3, B is 1, and C is equal to minus 4. Now we're ready to start. Find the discriminant, so we'll state the formula for the discriminant. B squared minus 4AC. Sub everything in. B is 1, A is minus 3, C is minus 4. What have we got there? So that gives us minus 47, I believe. Now, what does that tell us? So that tells us that the discriminant is negative. And if the discriminant is negative, there are no real roots. Okay, or you can say imaginary roots. Imaginary roots. So we weren't asked to sketch this graph, but just to help us make some links and join all the different parts of the course together, let's have a think about it. This quadratic has a negative x squared term, so we know that it's an n-shaped graph. We also now know that it has no real roots, so it possibly looks something like that. Okay, I don't know if it's in exactly the right position, but that's the shape of it anyway. All right, 2 questions for you here to do. Pause the video, write up your notes, and when you're ready, have a go at the questions, and when you want to see me doing them, just press play again. Okay, good. Just have a quick look at the picture of what we're looking at here. Here, the coefficient of x squared is positive, so it's a U-shaped graph. And we know it has real distinct roots, so it looks something like that. I don't know exactly where the roots are, but that's an idea of what it might look like. The second one is also a U-shaped graph, and it has real equal roots, so it might maybe look like, that. Okay, now, this is a tip, and it's to do with method selection. Method selection is knowing which technique to use in different situations when you're not specifically told what to do. You will rarely, in fact, I think you will never see the word discriminant in an exam. They will say words like real roots, no real roots, and you have to know that when you see those words, it's the discriminant, and that's the method selection, linking those words, real roots or no real roots or imaginary roots, linking those in your head to the discriminant. And even if there's a whole load of other stuff going on in the question and you're feeling a bit confused, write down b squared minus 4ac and substitute any of the values in the question into it. If you do any correct substitution, you'll probably get some marks. Even if you don't know what to do after that, you'll pick up some marks. And make sure you always show the substitution into the discriminant. Don't just do it in your head or do it in your calculator and write down the answer.